a wonderful experience when you actually get an education like that or a conversation like that, and you actually walk away with what you're looking for. All right, you two, that's enough. Hey, no chainsaws. That was probably a bad idea. She's gonna come back and want to play. No, all done. Good girl. All right, we'll see if that bought us any time. Hey guys, Corey here, AuDHD Act 2. And no, this is not a video about puppies. It's actually about crazy autistic guys playing with chainsaws and how the neighbors react. It's going to be a good time. No, we got a tree up there, and it's on its side. It's not supposed to be. So we're gonna have to cut it up, move it, get it to the guy next door. There's this awesome, best neighbor I've probably had in my entire life, actually. This guy lives next door, and him and his wife, and he is the firewood guy too. And so if you're in Colorado or any other mountainous region or northern region or any place that it gets cold, or just you have an old house with a wood stove and or a fireplace and you don't have central heating, you probably know a firewood guy. There's a lot of firewood guys around here, and a lot of guys, as they get into retirement or they just need a new hobby, they become firewood guys. And Rick next door, he's a firewood guy. And more applicable to this story, he's also a chainsaw guy. And I am not a chainsaw guy. I'm only a firewood guy in that I like fires and I like to have wood to put in the fire to make the pretty fire. But I have this chainsaw because for insurance purposes, I had to take down a couple of trees at my prior house before this. This is probably 8-9 years ago. And so this beautiful chainsaw here has seen a grand total of one tree. It was a decent sized tree, and it cut it down into little manageable chunks, and we turned it into firewood, a little bit of it into art and some furniture, real basic tables and wood slices and things like that. But overall, this saw has sat unused for the majority of the past 8 years. Until this week. So I finally, after 2 years of chatting up the neighbor about it, finally went down there with my saw. He knew that we had some trees come down, like that one. There's 5 that are down, and you'll see up here shortly, if you can't see it yet, there's others that are marked with orange paint that are coming down. Those are within reach of the house, most of them, so I'm not cutting those down. I'll cut them up when they're down, but I'm not gonna drop something on my house. That's definitely something I would do. So I go and reach out to Rick, and I let him know, hey, I got these trees I need to cut down, but I got the saw and it definitely needs some work. We go down there, and I have a fantastic hour and a half with him as he walks me through the inner workings of the steel chainsaw. And then he shows me how, with a round file, how to go one by one through each of the teeth on the chainsaw at the right angle and get the right sharpness on the blade. And that was actually super calming. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if you guys have you have that in common with me, but I definitely find peace in repetitive, simple. I like composting and just digging in the dirt, turning it over, like basic hands-on manual labor that's just simple and repetitive, and I don't want to say not mind-numbing, but mindless. Like, it is just like, to me, it's almost better than more. I have more success in terms of relaxing and finding what to do next by doing that kind of work than I have in meditation. I do meditate at times, and it has been helpful, but I seem to get there easier through like a manual labor gateway or pathway. But I digress as usual. So down there, we get this thing running, and we put a few cuts through on it, and it just basically, get the chainsaw 101 from a guy who's been through dozens of chainsaws and knows what he's talking about, and made it make a lot of sense. And that's a wonderful experience when you actually get you know, an education like that or a conversation like that, and you actually walk away with what you're looking for. But today, now that we have a functioning chainsaw, we have some crazy dogs that haven't heard a chainsaw, so they're gonna get a little bit of loud noise training. Bass has had plenty of loud noise training. She's not a fan, but the puppy, we're gonna see how the puppy reacts to some loud noises from the safety of a fence. We're not gonna have the puppy up against the chainsaw, don't worry. But we're gonna go up here, we're gonna cut this tree down piece by piece, bit by bit, until it's not a, I don't know, 80-foot pine on the ground, and instead it's a pile of firewood in the making. You know, it'll be mostly stumps, but anyhow, because what other option do we have? We can't let it lie there. Oh, hello. We can't let it just, you know, I can't ignore it. I've got to sell this house. The tree's got to go. I could pay someone to come and drag it away, but that's a lot of money. And honestly, the more times I do that, the faster every little bit of, you know, profit earned disappears out of this house. Everything in the past 6 years will disappear quickly if every time there's a problem, I call somebody to take care of it. I do that sometimes. There are definitely smart times to call for a professional. And like I said, cutting down the big tree that's right there that could easily fall onto this house or to me right now, like, that has to be done by someone with a little more experience than me. Because if I miss the mark and just, you know, I'm gonna watch a few YouTube videos and I could, you know, likely figure it out. But if I don't, I got a chunk of my house missing and I probably don't have an insurance claim because I cut down a tree myself onto my own house. And I don't know how that works, but anyhow, you see the problem. Sometimes you just gotta call for help. Other times you need to get out there and get your hands dirty and just start cutting down the tree that's already laid on the ground. So I'm gonna go get some practice with this tree, knowing that I've got 5 more trees coming, and also knowing that instead of paying twice as much to have them drag the trees away, I'm gonna cut them into pieces and take them to Rick next door to turn them into useful firewood for me, and other neighbors. Rick does a lot of trade. I trade him compost for firewood. It's a great deal. But that's what needs to be done. It's not what I necessarily want to do, although I'll be honest, I'm trying to come into a lot of these chores and activities for preparing this house from the viewpoint of more experience. But in this case, I also get a little bit of destruction therapy. Like, I get to go and destroy something, which can be definitely therapeutic, but I get to destroy something that needs to be destroyed for good. I'm not just out there messing stuff up further, which is easy to do, so don't do that. But I've talked enough. I'll bring you guys along as you watch me clumsily disassemble this tree, assuming we got this chainsaw running as well as we think we did, but we'll find out. Okay, maybe these guys should go inside. What do you think? All right. Yesterday I flooded that thing trying to get it started. So I had to let it sit for a little bit. It felt really good to actually get some cuts done. And there's obviously a lot left to do, but those few cuts, I don't know, what was that, like 3 or 4 minutes? I don't know. Those few cuts already gave me access to get through the gate to my garden, which is a huge deal because I've got just 2 greenhouses I'm taking apart and I need a place to dump the soil into the beds. So progress. But there's a lot to do, a lot left. This is just one of many trees. Let me show you this. You can see the roots popping up and the orange spot. That's the one that's coming down that has me worried the most, because these roots, this is a new thing. This wasn't coming up like this until recently, and it is not a small tree, and it is not far to my house. So that's just more stress coming. All the more reason to stay ahead of the game. Oh, hi, chicken. And keep on top of the tasks we can control. All right, I think that'll do for today. Back to work inside.